Wow, welcome everybody. It's so weird. I'm not sure why the music doesn't come through for y'all, but it comes through for me. So I'll have to figure that part out. Because, you know, don't want you just have to stare at a screen without something in the background other than the cool flashy graphics I put together. So happy birthday if you are a fan of Frosty the Snowman. Otherwise, happy, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate. You know, it's that time of year. This would be our last, I guess, brew video stream for YouTube between now and Christmas or the end of the week holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. So, the other thing I want to point out too is I didn't do a Fan Friday last week because what I decided I'm going to do from here on out is not rush the process or just force myself to spend like literally a full day working on decks and trying to hammer stuff out. And I'm just going to do it in a way that makes the most sense, right? So if it takes me a day, if it takes me a week or whatever, and that's when I get down to 2 decks, great. What I'm going to do in the meantime, though, is basically just take decks like I normally would, and I'll just rotate them out. So if I have, say, like maybe 5 good ones this week, and I only feature 2, then the next week I maybe only get 1 or 2, then I can just rotate them in as I have some worth featuring, you know. Let's see. Personal favorite holiday, Kwanzaa. Fair enough. Didn't know you're a Cowboys fan. So sorry, man. Hey, you know, it's all good. You know, I can't complain. I've got Cowboy stuff kind of all through my room. Like, if you look up, maybe behind me, I don't know if you can see it. I have, like, one of the recreated tickets up there that I got from, like, an auction that they put together in a picture. I've got Cowboys football sitting on my shelf over here, a plush football. Just a few different random things. So, yeah, lots of little things are around my space. Another thing too, for those of you that follow me over on Twitter, or Twitch, I want to apologize for not having a stream last night. Unfortunately, we got our first snow, which I guess caused some type of internet issue or something. So we were down for about 2.5 hours. So it wasn't really able to do a stream, which I'm just glad I got the video out today. I literally tethered my phone to my computer so I could try to play Arena and get the video finished for today. So I was really glad I at least went through the motions, still was able to make it happen. And yeah, so that's that. Also, we have a review video up for the first few cards that got previewed for Kaldheim. If you haven't seen that, that is up as well. So I've been still trying to crank out content here during the holidays where I know people are kind of slowing down, or end of the year where people kind of go, I'm out of content, I'm out of ideas. I'm still trying to make sure y'all get your full, I don't know, I guess, full allotment of PowrDragn during this time. So, hope that's appreciated. It is a lot of work to get done during this window of time. Alright, so here's what we're going to do while we're setting things up. Let me go ahead and grab the link for y'all. And we will make sure that happens. This should be the document link. Oop, if I copy it correctly. I was about to give y'all half a link. That's not going to do anything. Alright, here we go. If you need the link, if you would like to submit your deck, here's what you do. You go there, you put your username in so I know who I'm talking to when I pull the deck list up. Then you just give me a link to wherever your deck is stored. If you don't have a site where you post deck list or whatever, you can hop over to our Discord and you can share it over there. And, yeah. Oh, I guess this video description did not have our Discord link. All right, so I'll have to do that another time. We can't do that there. Normally, I do have my my Discord link to all of my videos. For whatever reason, I didn't get it set up on this one. That's super unfortunate. But if you want to go over there, post it, then, you know, I can just go there as well. I've had some people share it via Google Docs. Just whatever. I just need access to your deck list so that I can work on it, talk about it, whatever. Some things, though, remember, you only get 1 per viewer. So the first one you put up is the one I'm going to take. I won't look at the next one. We're trying to do 1 per. If you want more than that, come join our Discord, and you can share all the deck lists you want to your heart's content, and we will look at them there. Also, We're not looking for your best deck. It can be a good deck, but I want your best brew, your most interesting deck, playing different cards, playing different combos, playing theme decks, whatever. I don't just want somebody to share like, hey, look, I have this other mono green food list that like everybody has. Like that's not what we're really after here. The other thing is, if you have an is it aggro deck of any kind or something using, what is it, experimental, whatever, like we're not interested in seeing them. Sadly, we get 4, 5, 6 of those get submitted every week. None of them make it past the early stages to be featured on the channel. Unfortunately, they are just not good right now. Now, I will say, if you've cracked the code and you've got it figured out and you have a winning list, I will look at it and I will consider it, because it's obviously popular enough that people want one and want one featured. But everything I've seen, everything I've tried, we've gone through it over and over, just not that good. Also, if you have a Yorion list, if it's not doing something fun or unique or over the top, like I'm probably not going to feature a Yorion list. The games are just too long for the format of YouTube and everything else. It's just not good content. You know, and so far, most of the Yorion lists I've seen basically just look like current Yorion lists. They've just switched like 6 cards or something. So not that excited by those to feature on the channel. So those are probably the 2 things that are going to be instant no's if you're wanting to be featured. So, like I said, is it aggro list or is it spells list? Probably not the 2 things or the types of is it list you want to submit. And again, probably no Yorion list. Unless you're doing something completely unique and different, then I'll definitely check it out. Otherwise, I think most stuff is up for grabs. I will say, if I put a list up that's similar within the last week or 2, I probably won't feature it just for variety's sake. But yeah, we're pretty open. We'll look at a lot of stuff right now. Again, I know some of you look like you're just hopping in here. If you want to submit your deck list, boom, there you go. There's a link. You just have to go in, put your username in, put a link to your deck list so I can pull it up. We'll bring it up in Arena and we'll talk about it. I'm not going to be on too long today, probably about an hour to an hour and a half. I've allotted myself 60 to 90 minutes. Anything else that gets submitted that we don't cover on the video, I will still look at after the video, though I think we will probably cover everything. Let's see. I'm excited for Kaldheim based on what we've seen, or cautiously optimistic. I don't get overly excited about sets in general, mostly because like I'm more interested in just cards. You know, like just give me fun cards. The themes, I'm one of those weird people, though I appreciate flavor and art and everything else. I mean, for a large extent, they could be just blank with card number 147 and then like text, and I would be just as good because I'm just playing with the cards. Once we get past the early stages of the like background stuff to the cards, like it's really what do the cards do, and that's their legacy that they hold up forever. So I don't know, so far the cards are interesting, I guess. Don't have any deck list, just wanted to say your volume of streamed vids next level, and we appreciate the dedication. Thank you, Gui. Like, it is insane to think about going all the way back to February of like, okay, I'm just gonna hammer out content. You know, we figure out I've put out more than a video a day, because some days obviously I do 2 or sometimes 3 depending, but usually at least 1 a day on YouTube. You know, streaming 3 times a week over on Twitch, once a week here on YouTube, putting out a podcast once a week, which we haven't, I think we've skipped 1 week in 63 weeks, so that's pretty cool. Doing a web show we've been doing for the past 2 months, that's up, Supreme Verdict. And I feel like I have something else. Oh, and then just doing commentary and stuff on top of that. So yeah, it's been a pretty active 2020 for me. As much as everybody else has been struggling for ideas or coming up with stuff, I try to point to people and say, try doing that for like, I don't know, 12 pieces of content every week. Went live, just saw your friends left me in Discord. Hey, good timing, Jacob. Welcome. Where can we make a deck list for a historic brew? I'm not sure. You can make a deck list anywhere. You can store it on Aether Hub, MTG Goldfish, untap.gg, like anywhere that lets you host a deck list. You can put it up anywhere and just give me a link to it and I'll bring it up. The only thing I'll say about historic decks is you kind of got to blow my doors off to make me want to feature. So I'll still look at historic lists because I'm sure something can work. But so far, most of the stuff people have sent me have either been way overcomplicated combos, though interesting, don't necessarily play out great sometimes, or stuff that's, what's the best way I would describe it? Like, known entities. Like, they may not be tier 1, but they're things we've all kind of seen. So far I haven't been that surprised by the historic stuff. And historic stuff doesn't necessarily do great on my channel, so I'll still feature one. I mean, if there's something that just looks like fun as hell, I'm always looking for a fun historic deck for the few times I just fire one up anyway, even if just for myself. Even if and that's the other thing too, if some of the things are interesting enough, I will feature them on just a regular daily video. I don't even need to have it on a Fan Friday. Like, I'm totally fine just putting it up for a regular video as well. Hello, good sir. Like the baby blue deck box. Yeah, that's actually one that came from a collection. I don't even think I'd bought that one, actually. But that tells you how good these deck boxes are from Ultra Pro. Seriously, like, these are fantastic. Like, they hold up. Like, I have bought many collections that have these Satin Tower deck boxes, and they are still in great shape. Like, this whole section here are all used, and they look practically new. So if you're looking for something to protect your cards that's going to hold up and a decent value, most retailers will sell you these for like 12 bucks or something. And I won't say they're indestructible, but they definitely do hold up for sure. Also, I'm going to give y'all a sales pitch for the week. If y'all haven't, Profit sleeves. I'm in the middle of sleeving up my Commander deck, my Rith, the Awakener deck, for the first time. Profits and Ultra Pro, Pro Mat, Eclipse sleeves. Definitely recommend. Mostly because, I'll be honest with you, like, I should have done it a long time ago and I didn't, just because I've just been stubborn. Partly because when I buy collections and I have to de-sleeve cards, it is such a pain in the butt to take stuff out of literally like 1,000 Profit sleeves. But truthfully, for your own deck, for stuff that, like my Commander deck that I'm only switching a handful of cards at a time, I'm gonna keep most of them in there. It's also, some of those cards are very expensive. You know, because, you know, I have like a Gaia's Cradle and some other stuff in there. Double sleeving, just protect your stuff. Like, it's something I should have done a long time ago. So yes, though I am sponsored by Ultra Pro, I'm advocating that it should be done. Like, I should have done it a long time ago. I got the supplies. That's probably going to be a project for me over the next couple days, and it's going to be totally worth it. So I recommend y'all do it as well. Like the towers, but they become a bit clunky when you have surpassed into. Yeah, that's true too. Like, size is an issue. You know, if those are a problem, these little flip deck boxes are, you know, when you're talking about size, right? Like, you're trying to conserve space. I mean, this is a big deal. Like, these are really nice. These little alcoves, I think they are, the smaller ones. And these would probably be what... I have a Gruul one that they sent me last week. If you saw my box opening video from a week or two ago, check that out. You can see the stuff there. But yeah, these are probably what I'm going to be putting, like, my weekly, like, standard deck or whatever in once we get back to going to stores here. But yeah, cool box. Very sturdy. Definitely a fan of those. So yeah, just a little FYI, making my sales pitch there for the sponsor. But yeah, stuff I would be using. Made to fit inside of the hives. I think the Hive is a different company, but I believe they will fit in there because they're roughly the same size as the boulders, I think, is what you're asking. But yes, they should be able to fit. I like those, though. I like the material. You know, I like the fact that they have the magnetic closures on both sides, which is nice. So definitely we'll be using those here pretty quick. All right, let's see what we got from the peeps today that has been submitted. All right, we've got a couple of decks in here. So let me switch screens, get us over to the arena screen, and let's see what we got. I may have to delete some decks, though. I've been kind of hard brewing. Oh, no, I did. I deleted in advance, setting up for this. Look at that. I got smart this time. Because I'm always asking the Arena Twitter feed, like, hey, give me more deck slots. I could always use more deck slots. Help me out. Okay, so let's pull this up. This one's from JMTH. Saved over at the Aether Hub, so I will pull this up. And we'll see what we got. We'll get this show rocking and rolling. Because why not? That's what we're here for. All right, let's see. We're going to export this. I'm not sure what we're doing. This looks like just a mono green something. I don't know. Let's see what we've got going on. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. All right. So we got Swarm Shambler. Yeah, I think we've seen something like this a couple of times now that people have submitted. Truthfully, this is one I chalk up to probably being mostly fine, but don't know if it's feature worthy. I mean, it's kind of just a mono green deck playing a couple. I mean, the only different thing really from this style of deck is probably Crystalline Giant, and it's kind of only good if you have an Ozolith. And the thing is, I don't think this is necessarily bad. You know, I think this is the type of deck that's probably fine. You could play through it and do okay. But I'm not sure. Like I said, I like it. I've kept one around in my pile that I've considered putting on just a regular daily video. Not sure if it's Fan Friday, like brew-worthy feature, you know? Will I be playtesting the decks or just examining the playstyle? Jacob, what we do on this is strictly about you giving me decks. All the other playing and stuff I do is off screen because it just takes entirely too much time. Like, there's no way to go through, literally some streams we've done like 20 or 30 decks. Like, there's no way that I could do that and play all those and whatever without taking all day. If you want to see me play more decks and stuff, generally I recommend following me over on Twitch. And, you know, I'll play stuff on there on the ladder and whatnot. Or I have a thing where you can spend channel points and then I'll play your decks if you want or whatever. There's a bunch of stuff we do over there that I can't do with the interface on YouTube. So recommend catching me over on Twitch if you want to see that in particular. But yeah, like this is no, I think it's fine. And this happens a lot where people submit decks that I think are, this is probably a good deck. I just don't know if this is something that's different enough that I would feature on the channel. Like, if this was playing some unique cards or newer cards, I would probably be more inclined. But right now, it's kind of like it's playing... Like, I would just be making changes to make it too similar to other decks, right? Because it's like it's playing Carried, but does it really need Carried when you only have, like, a handful of things that cost more than 3? Like, probably not. Like, could you be playing more Horn Beetles? Like, probably. Like, lots of questions. I don't know. I don't see Gym Razor on the list either, which I'd probably rather see than some other stuff. So I don't know. But again, if I do that, I think I end up making it look like a deck list that it's not intended to be. And that's the unfortunate part. Good examples, I have this list here, this Cleric one that was submitted by somebody, I believe, last week. And I'm still messing around with it. But ultimately, I'm getting closer and closer to it looking like another list. So I'm kind of on the fence on if I'm going to feature it or not. Which is kind of sad. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move to the next list. Actually, for those of you that need this link, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and give that to y'all so you can get in the queue. I only have one other deck in there right now, so now would be a good time if you want to get your deck looked at and considered. Boom, boom. There you go. And at that link, all you need is just your username, your deck list, or a link to your deck list so I can pull it up on the channel. Couple of quick things though. Only one per viewer, so your first one's the only one that's going to count. And I'm looking for your best brew, your most interesting deck, however you define that. Not necessarily your best deck. It can be a really good deck. But again, if you're just putting up another like Yorion, I don't know, whatever list that looks like everything else, probably not going to get featured. It makes my job easy because I'll be able to look at it and give you a thumbs up and say, hey, it's a good deck, and then move on to the next deck. Looking for something playing unique cards, unique combos, theme decks, tribal decks, whatever. Like just something that's slightly different that you're working on that maybe we can turn into something. You know, that's what we want to see for the channel. So keep that in mind when you submit your deck list. I will tell you also, if you're doing anything that's is it aggro or is it spells, unless it's already proven, I'm probably not going to feature it. We have several of those get submitted every week, and they just end up not being good. I've tried a lot of different stuff. I've talked to other content creators. They all agree it's just not good right now. So if you've cracked the code, absolutely let's do it because I think people want to see it. But Otherwise, I'm probably not going to mess with it. And like I said, Yorion decks probably aren't going to get featured because they tend to just be entirely too slow for quality content to fit inside of like a 30-minute-ish video. So those are probably the only two stumbling blocks I would say. Anything else? Whether you want to do standard, whether you want to do historic, whatever, like, feel free to submit it. I'll look at it. All right, let's look at this other one that's already in the queue, though. This one's from Sheldon938. This one's on MTG Goldfish. So this will take a quick second to pull this one up. Let's go export for Arena. Copy this, and we'll import it over here. Boom, ready to go. All right, so we've got a 3-color Roost of Drakes deck. Sheldon, did you submit one last week? Because this looks similar to what somebody else submitted last week as well. Because I think the thing we were looking at on this is that we're playing Roost of Drakes with only like 2 real kicker cards. And this one's actually kind of hard to even get to kicker at 7. You do have Skyclave Relic, but truthfully, you really don't even need to kick Skyclave Relic in this list, I think is part of the issue. I mean, I guess maybe if it's the only thing you have on 6 and you're trying to get to Ugin, I suppose that's a thing. 24 lands is probably a touch light. I don't know. Tweak the deck. I'm trying to figure out how to send it using the method of the link. Literally, wherever you host your deck list, just give me a link to that deck. That's it. Like, I just need your username. Wherever you normally would put a deck list, give me a link to that deck list. That's literally all you have to do. I handle the rest. If you don't have that, then occasionally people are able to post them into their Google Docs, and then other people post them in the Discord, and then I just go get the link there or get the deck list from there. So there's a few ways, but generally the easiest is just any of the sites where people are hosting deck lists. We can go over there and snag it from there. Yeah, this is a tough one because it's and I feel like somebody submitted this last week or something similar last week. I'm not really sure if you were the same person or not. My concern though is that it just feels, what's the best word I have for this? Like maybe disjointed, I guess is the best word I have. Yeah, like I said, I feel like we saw one last week that, I don't know, maybe it was the same person. I don't know, but it feels very similar to what we've seen. And I've seen some people try this. I'm not sure, like, I think the problem you have is, like, we want to use Roost of Drakes, right? But then we're playing a lot of things that don't support the kicker theme. And truthfully, Seagate Stormcaller, not awesome. I want something, and I've tried the Seagate Stormcaller in a few different lists. Like, I've wanted it to be good for a little while now. But everything I put it in, it just ends up feeling eh. Like, I could pay 4 mana, bounce 2 things. I could pay 4 mana, deal 6. That's kind of cool when that happens. You know, otherwise, you're kind of just doing nickel and dime stuff. Because, like, a lot of this stuff, like, you're not going to, like, copying a Shatter doesn't do anything, right? Your Skyclave Relic, like, your other creatures don't do anything, you know. She can be unbelievable historic, but in standard it's hard for her to pop off as much. That's probably true. I mean, there's definitely more things worth copying in the other formats. And this is an example of, like, I don't think any particular card in here is just bad. I just don't know if as a unit it's good. You know, because you also have that weird thing too, where you're playing Apparition, but you're also playing Shatter the Sky. So, like, if you're in a situation where you got to sweep the board, you're giving him something back. Like, so there's a few, like, weird quirks here that if somebody has a version of this that you can already show me, like, proven stats, I don't know, in whatever stat tracker you use, I would be more inclined to feature this one or play it. The problem for me is I see this as being a time trap, as I like to call it. And with me trying to go through so many other deck lists and test them and try different stuff and putting out other content, I probably have to step back from this one because I could see myself wasting a good, like, 3 hours trying to, like, getting it close and then trying to, like, get closer. And it's just going to eat up so much time for me to mess with this type of list. Again, I don't think it's bad. I don't think any particular cards are bad. I just feel like this is a for real time trap. Unless I already know it's closer to being what we're trying to do with it. But my problem is, looking at it, I can't even tell you what we're trying to do with it, right? Like, is it an aggro-y deck with some early creatures? Is it a control deck that's trying to win with Narset? Is it... Because, you know, it's got, like, Relic, Narset, Ugin, whatever. Is it like just a tempo-y deck where we're trying to... But even then, like, does that make sense with the Planeswalkers on the back end? Like, it's doing a few different things, and I don't know if any of those things are bad. Just looking at it, it's not telling me a clean story. Kicker was put into... you feel like Kicker was put into... Oh, Zendikar Rising set to up Kicker in the relevant, combined with subsequent sets once upon the second. I don't think it's that. I think it's just more like you only have one set to put Kicker cards in, right? And how much space do you let Kicker take up, I think is part of the problem. Because the cards we have aren't necessarily bad. There's just not enough real good ones to justify playing a full deck with. And unfortunately, because we don't really... Looks like we have a spot for Kicker to come back. Unless they sneak some into like the core set or something next year. Or whatever we're calling the D&D set or whatever. We probably aren't going to have a quality Kicker deck, really. It's a little unfortunate. So yeah, I don't know. This is another one. Full of good cards. Don't think anything's particularly wrong. Probably one of those things, like, I need to be able to see the narrative, I think, is the problem. When I look at the list, I need to be able to say, like, I know what this deck's trying to do. And an immediate look, I don't know if I could tell that story. But hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong too. I mean, Kicker can be kind of fun. It's a cool value mechanic, you know, but as it is, I've built a couple of them and they were fine, and that's probably the best I could say about them. Not saying that I'm the end-all be-all. Somebody might have better lists, truthfully. But that's just kind of where I'm at on that particular one. Let me see. Let me clear some space on these. All right, let's see who else we've got submitted. By the way, if you need the link, I just posted it again there in the channel or in the chat. Feel free to just go post your username and a link to your deck list, and I will bring it up and we can talk about it. This is for Poker Kraken, which is a very funny visual. It's like you have so many arms you can play poker against yourself if you're a giant Kraken. All right, this is over at Aether Hub, so let me pull that one up. We will export this over to the arena. We'll import this. All right, let's see what we've got. We have Starfield Mystic, which your enchantments cost less. If you have an enchantment die, it gets +1/+1. Trial of Ambition, blah, blah, blah. First are Rowan Games. Seems a little unnecessary. Trial of Strength. Okay. So this is basically a sigil of the Empty Throne deck. Toss in some Doomford Tolds for some control options. Trial of Strength makes a thing. Well, I mean, do we have any cartouches so we could try to reuse these? I mean, if that's the case, why not just play just a straight up, like, removal card? Why is this not just, like, Banishing Light or something? And then I can just kill whatever I want. I don't give my opponent the choice. I could take out things that aren't creatures. Kind of the same thing here on the Trial of Ambition. Like, it's cool, it makes a 4/2, but, like, I mean, are there other enchantments that I could just, like, pay some mana to generate tokens? Or is there like an enchantment creature that can also count as an enchantment and make me a 4/2? That if it gets bounced or something happens to it, I can possibly reuse it. You know, those would be my concerns with this list. I think, like, we're playing the trials, but I don't know if we're getting any value out of the trials. Hey, Felipe. How's it going? It looks like we have some people rotating in and out of the chat here, so I'm going to go ahead and post the link again. If you need that, just go post your username and your deck list, one per viewer, and we'll take a look at them. I like playing with interesting cards in this list. I'll at least keep this one in consideration. The problem I'm going to come down to is likely that it may end up looking too much like some other deck lists. But I don't... Like, there's a lot of cards it's playing that they just aren't bad for this list, but I don't know if they're doing the right things. I was planning on making a Doom focus deck, so they end up being fodder for Doom Foretold. Alright. I mean, I could see that in the sense of, like, Trial of Strength, you make a 4/2, you can sack the enchantment. That kind of makes sense. Still not set on Trial of Ambition, because again, you could just remove a thing with your other enchantments, which are probably a little better. Though I get it. You get rid of a thing, Doom Foretold, you don't give them a thing back. But you also can't take care of non-creature things with the Trial of Ambition, which would be a concern. Starfield Mystic is okay, but I don't know how much cheaper you really need your enchantments to be. And I don't see it getting too large in a lot of cases, because it's going to be the only thing your opponent's really targeting most of the time. Unless you find a way to work in other creatures that also happen to be enchantments. Might be the issue here. And First Rowan Games ultimately isn't doing a lot for this list. I mean, it's making a 1/1. If the 1/1 lives, you get to put counters on it, but like it's just kind of filler. I think there's better cards for you here. Shadow of the Sky, like Archon, you might as well just go to 4. Like I can't see a reason to not play, because it's not like if you draw a second Archon, it's terrible. It's lifelink, it flies, it gives you other creatures. Like, it just does so much more for this list. I would just go straight up to a full set on those. Don't even know if you need Shatter and Wrath. If you're playing Archons to make blockers, you have Oath of Kaya to get rid of things. If we add in additional removal, like even then, you have like your Trial of Ambition or Banishing Light or whatever it becomes. You have Doom Foretold. Like, where it's, I don't know. I feel like there's some spots I think you could just be playing better cards. I guess what I'm getting at. The idea is fine. Like the Sigil of Empty Throne. Like there's been decks based around this for a little while in the past. So totally doable. I don't think that's a problem at all. You know, like I said, this one it'll stick around in the list. It'll stick around in the pile. I may come back to that. Let's see. That was from Poker Kraken. Oh, why does it not let me change the name? There we go. Let's, there we go. So at least have it tracked for later. Let's see what else we've got here. And again, that one's one where it's like, you're playing a few different cards. Like, I see the vision of what you're trying to do. I can spend some time on it and see what I can do with it if I decide to feature it, right? Like, clear path, good deal. Like, we can talk about that. Alright, let's go to the next one. Who do we have here? This is from I Stole Your Deck. I think you've been in the chat before and submitted something. Oh, Moxfield. Yes, I do remember, because we occasionally just have issues with this site getting deck lists from it. Let's see what we got here. How do we export to copy for MTG Arena? Alright, cool. Let's see if it worked. It did. Fantastic. Alright, so this is a Boros list, it looks like. What do we got here? Selfless Savior, Luminarch. This is just a Winota list that randomly has Luminous Broodmoth thrown in here for some inexplicable reason. And that's kind of it. Nothing special, man. Just wanted to color spin on your Naya counters list. CGB went over a mono white aggro splashing Winota and sort of just plagiarized both. I don't have anything problem with that. Like, people copy lists and want to do stuff all the time. Like, that's cool. I mean, none of us own intellectual property to a deck list for Magic. But I think if you're trying to use Winota, your Broodmoth should probably just be like Nahiri, possibly, would be better. You can probably get by with one less land at 23. Your other issue, it looks like, is except for Basri's Lieutenant, you don't really have anything to Winota into. You know, like, so you're gonna be like Winotaing into Aspirant and Relic Robber, or Robber of the Rich, more often than not, and that's not great. Nahiri also lets you search for warriors, correct? Not just equipment. So it gives you another way to search for a Winota if that's your main plan here. But yeah, I don't think this is where you want to be. Even Relic Robber, I see more and more people trying to put these into lists, and I just don't. Hey James, thanks. This is my holiday hat. Though it has haste and it can possibly do some incidental damage. Like, if y'all saw today's video, that was probably the best case scenario for my opponent having a Relic Robber, and I got stuck with 2 tokens and still didn't lose. Right? That's why I don't like Relic Robber, because one, you have to clear everything out of the way and then it has to be able to hit, right? If it doesn't connect, it's just a bad, well, slightly better Grey Ogre, right? It's a 3-mana 2/2 that just attacks and doesn't do anything. The other thing is, if I have anything to do with the tokens, which is rare, but, you know, maybe I can sack it for food with a Witch's Oven, or I'm able to scry my top card with a Woe Strider, or whatever, right? Like, it's just not great. Does the artifact token count as your artifact? It counts as an artifact for your opponent because they control it. Yeah, that's true. And board wipes do kill the tokens. But not a big fan of the card. Like, I see a lot of people trying to squeeze it in the list. But like I said, literally, I had a game today on video. Y'all should go watch it because it was a fun win. And honestly, not only did I win, I played that game terribly for the back 3 turns, I think, and was still able to win. And that's with my opponent hitting me multiple times with Relic Robbers and having the Royal Disruption, or the enchantment that, like, you lose a life during your upkeep or whatever. And, like, I was still able to win. So that tells you, like, Relic Robber's probably not the card you want. Like, they had their best case scenario with me losing 3 life during my upkeep or whatever, and still didn't kill me with the Relic Robber tokens. Like, if that's just a better creature, you're probably better off. And you don't get to attack with it, right? If it was something you got to control and you got to check, then that would be great, but you don't. So it doesn't really do anything for you. I was trying to put it in an artifact deck. Yeah, it doesn't do anything for you. It gives your opponent an artifact, so it's probably not what you're looking for. Yeah, you definitely want Kinrith. Kinrith's the best thing to go get. Really, you're either getting Kinrith or you're getting the big one from Throne of Eldraine that costs like 6 or 7, that when it attacks, you make a 2/2 warrior, whatever, like that thing. Those are probably your only real options. Like, there's nothing else huge to go get with Winota right now. But yeah, Broodmoth, I don't think is it. I don't think Relic Robber's it. You should probably just be playing more Bone Crusher Giants because you have, like, no real cards right now to clear stuff out of your way. Yeah, but otherwise, this is really just a Winota list that looks like it has Broodmoth tossed into it for the most part. So, probably won't feature it because it looks similar to some other things we've done recently. But, yeah, again, you could probably have some fun with the list. Don't think there's anything outright wrong with it. It's just too similar to some other stuff already. You are welcome for the feedback. Let's see what we got. We've only got one left in the queue. This one is from SPC1091. let me bring this up. You have this over on Aether Hub. And actually, while I'm doing that, let me share this link again. So if anyone would like to submit a deck list, all you gotta do is put your username in and your deck list and just show us your most interesting deck. And we'll see what happens. But right now, the queue's effectively empty, so you would be next up, whoever put something in. All right, let's export this. Let's bring this up into Arena and see what we have. All right, this is a Nihilist. Affliate, Ruined Halo is what we're rocking here. Omen of the Forge, Roiling Vortex, Banishing Lights, Idyllic Tutors, Exploration, Archons, Shadow of the Sky, Crowan War, Outlaws Merriment. I have a love-hate relationship with that card. Calyx, actually I say that. I think it's just a hate-hate relationship, but it's kind of keeps climbing back on my back for some reason. Elspeth Conquers Death, Amarius Skull, Shatter Skull, Smashing, and some lands. Oh my gosh. What are we doing with the lands here? I'm going to assume your lands are for lack of wild cards, because I can't see a reason you wouldn't just max out on pathways, probably. Even if where you were playing a couple extra planes, I'd probably cut a couple and play some pathways just so you don't get stuck. Though, it's arguable that Calyx is just weighing this deck down. I don't know, unless you have a sideboard with it. You have a Rasta, which is reasonable. Yeah, even then, though, you need double green. I'd probably just skip on the green entirely. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. It's just risking hurting your mana for no reason. And you could just max out something else. Whether that's like Owl Seeds, Royal Eruptions, like, I don't know. So this is really just like a red-white control deck that's using enchantments as its base, effectively, right? Is that what we're doing? Do these streams stay on your YouTube channel? Yeah, absolutely. You can go back and watch my streams. I don't delete them. I just leave them up in case you want to just come back and look at interesting deck lists that people are submitting. For the most part, this is probably okay. This is probably doable. I have some Boros control list, so I mean, I know that is possible to make work. Just with direct control and then naming Roiling Vortex with the Ruined Halo. I don't know if I like that plan. I don't want to be naming something, like, I don't want to be using Ruined Halo for my own card. That just seems silly. Because you're not going to be preventing that much damage. You know what I mean? Like, you're over the course of the game, like, you'd be spending 2 cards to maybe, like, prevent 4 damage to yourself, 5 damage to yourself, to make sure your opponent took the 5 or whatever. I would rather just play Roiling Vortex and just play something that gains life. Like, why play the Ruined Halo to stop damage to yourself? Because, like, you can literally just play any enchantment or anything to just let you gain life and be fine. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much reason to spend a card to just say, like, all right, I'm going to not take 1 every upkeep, when you could just gain 5 or whatever, you know? Like, I'm not, like, I get what you're doing, I just don't think it's remotely efficient at all. Like, the thing is, Halo does have value, right? Like, let's say your opponent has, I'm trying to think of a card, I don't know, like Feasting Troll King, right? And you're like, cool, boom, I'm not taking damage from the Feasting Troll King. Like, until they find Gem Razor or something, obviously. But, like, okay, like, it at least has a use. I just would never want to use it against my own Roiling Vortex, is what I'm saying. Like, I would just rather it just be, like, there's room for something else in here, is all I'm getting at. Like, if you cut those Calyx, are there just 2 or 3 enchantments I could play that just gain life? And is that better? You know? Like, that would be what I'm looking at. Like, I'll see the Life's Bounty. It's cute, but it's not really doing anything except maybe protecting something from a Wilt or a Gem Razor, and that's about it. I mean, you could protect an Archon, which actually isn't nothing, you know, but like, is that really what we're trying to do? Can you make a Mythos of Snack Decks Happily Ever After work? Nope. Happily Ever After is a terrible card to try to work around. That's a time trap. Somebody else might be able to. I'm just not spending the time to do it because it's literally just too much work. And not even just to play the deck or whatever. I'm just saying, like, from the time I would have to dedicate to make it work, I just don't have that kind of time. Like, I'll just tell you up front, not going to be a thing for me. That's one I'm just, like, walking away from up front. My co-host on my podcast, he likes the card. He's thought about it a few times and maybe spent some time in on it, but not a thing for me for sure. Yeah, I don't know. This one doesn't... I don't hate this list. I think it's fine. Like I said, I would just cut the green altogether, lean on the white a little more. I'm not sure what else I would include or not, what I could clean up. Because my other concern coming back around is like, okay, if I cut the Outseeds, like, are the Archons just sitting ducks? But is the Archon still the best thing to be doing in here? Which it probably is. Is Valakut Exploration like a relevant way to try to kill the opponent alongside Vortex? Maybe. Right? Does this list also need some Vanishing Lights to kind of buy time until we, or does it just need more Shatter the Sky? Like, there's a lot of questions, but it's at least in consideration. There's a lot of things I would want to sort out, I guess, beforehand on that one. Okay, we've got... Let me go ahead and post the link again. Looks like we have one more in the queue currently. So if you'd like to get your deck looked at, now is the time. I will post the link one more again. Well, it might be more than one more, but at least one more right now. Let's see. Any thoughts on Jeskai and bringing in Dance of the Manse for any enchantment cards that get destroyed or tossed with Valakut Exploration? I think you're just trying too hard. Like, it's fine. There is an argument to be made that, like, maybe you play 2 Dance of the Manse because you have people milling a bunch of stuff to your graveyard, and that's relevant, right? You know, that's a thing you can do. But again, like, do we want to? Like, do you want to mess up your potential mana for that? Like, I don't know. But the other problem is, too, the times you don't come against a mill deck, it's going to really take a long time for your Dance of the Manse to come online. But, I mean, if you play 2, go for it. What do you feel about spoil? I'm not going to answer a bunch of that. That's a different stream. Feel free to come to Twitch, ask me those questions. Or just watch my videos I'm putting up that preview or review the cards that have been previewed. So I have a video from yesterday or the day before. Feel free to go watch it. I talk about the cards in long form there. Not to be rude, but it's just like, I'm not trying to derail this particular stream while we're looking at deck lists. This is over at Card Hoarder. I think this is the first person who's put a deck list on Card Hoarder. From Masuhara. All right, let's see what this is all about. But yeah, I know some people seem to enjoy when I've been doing that the last couple of seasons, so I will be putting up, once we get into full spoiler season or preview season, and they're putting up previews, you know, 6 to 10 cards a day or whatever, I will probably be doing those more regularly, so you can expect to see those. I did them most of last season, and people seem to really enjoy it, so I'll probably do it again with Kaldheim. But yeah, I have a video up from a couple days ago. You can see me talk about some of those cards there. I don't know how to export a deck from Card Hoarder. Staring at this page. Can I just copy the list? Will it let me do that? I don't know. Let me see if I just copy the whole thing. Will it let me import it? Nope, it doesn't like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have you put this on another site, Masaharu. I don't know. Masuhara, I should say. Pronounce that correctly. Because I don't even see where I would export this on this page at all. It's just a deck list. It lets me a link to buy the deck. I can click on cards to go to card links, but otherwise there's nothing here. I can click back on your deck editor. And that lets me import lists. Oh no, it just takes me to a thing so I can create a list. It's like, yeah, I need you to give me a link. Yeah, I will just delete that one. And you can resubmit. Alright, so my deck queue is clear currently. So anybody who wants to hop in, you would be next up. I will go for probably another, let's call it 20 minutes or until there are no more decks in the queue. Let's do that. So here's the link again if somebody needs it. There you go. And again, I just need your username and your deck list. And then we will take a look at it and see if you can get featured on the channel. And some of these, like I said, I may feature them on Fan Friday. Some I may feature for just like a daily video. I have one or two that got submitted for Fan Friday, but I thought they were interesting enough on their own and decent enough on their own that we just went ahead and played them for videos. So either could try. Been trying to make a party deck, but I haven't seen to get the format right. James, I would say just go to my YouTube. Well, you're on my YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel. Look at my videos in the magnifying glass search box. Just put in party, and there's probably going to be like 4 lists that come up. Use those for starting points if you need to. That's the other thing too. I put up so many decks throughout a season, especially right now. Like we've literally put up a deck, at least a deck every day, and then on Fan Fridays there's been 2 decks, right? So I try to label the titles in a way that they're searchable. So if you're ever looking for a deck list, like say you're looking for Boros something, or you're looking for a Warriors deck or whatever, like you can put in Boros, you can put in Warriors separately and see all the Boros decks. You can see all the Warriors decks. And it's usually pretty close to chronological. Like they might be like, this one's from this week, want to be from 4 weeks, want to be from 3 weeks, right? But generally, you can see the most recent stuff. So you can see all the deck lists I've put up in the last couple months, at least during those searches. So that's a good way. Because I have a lot of people ask like, oh, do you have a deck list for this? And a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I just did that like 3 weeks ago. Or yeah, I just did that last week. So easiest way if you want to just go through. It's almost like having a full deck repository. You know, if you want to just go back and see kind of even how some decks have evolved. Because in a season, sometimes, like I just put up another mono white list, right? And it changed a little bit. Where we started playing some other, I think this one, we played Hushbringers or something, right? So that's kind of like a thing you could do that way, is just see like, okay, well, what did they change for? Or why did they change? And I try to explain that when I'm doing the deck breakdown of why we want certain cards. So that's another thing too, that sometimes the first lists that go up come back around because the format changes, right? We might be in a world where there's not all that many enter the battlefield triggers, or maybe rogues isn't that much of a thing anymore, so Hushbringer loses some of its value. So you may not want that to be your card of choice anymore, right? But if that ends up being the case again, say there's still a ton of mono green food, there's a bunch of rogues, then Hushbringer has more value. Or even Yorion, right? It's good against that. So stuff like that is another reason to go back through the old decks and just check them out. I think it's a good way to just kind of have an understanding of why things are they are, more than just that they are. You know, that's one of the things about my channel I try to explore with y'all, is not just putting up a good deck list and just saying like, here, go play this. It's explaining why I'm trying those cards together, and then talking through the plays. Whether I want to tell y'all this too, and I want to say this in all sincerity. Whether you're watching my content or somebody else's content, whether the person is winning or losing should not be the most important thing from that video for you. Because the truth is, there's a whole slew of reasons they could be winning or losing, right? One, they could edit and just show you the wins, right? There could be certain matchups they got that you may not run into. It could be that that's their preferred play style and they play that deck better than you do, right? There's a whole host of reasons that they could win or lose, and you may do the opposite. But the more important thing is identifying, does the deck look interesting to you? And then identifying why the decisions were made that the person was playing, right? That's why I try to talk through things and explain things, even though I don't necessarily take that action. Sometimes you'll hear me say, well, I could have also done this, which may or may not be better for these reasons. Or I'm blocking this way with anticipation of this thing happening, and sometimes it's wrong, right? So you get that context of like, okay, if you choose to play this, here are some things you have in your knowledge base to think about, right? It's not just winning or losing. Because I have decks I put up that I've told y'all, like, it's gone undefeated on that video, and I'm like, nah, I feel like I got a little lucky, or this probably won't happen under normal circumstances, or my opponent messed up that allowed this, or others where I'm like, well, I only went 3-3, but this deck actually feels pretty good, and I know where I made mistakes, so I could have got another win or two, right, or whatever. So just looking at wins and losses, I don't think tells the whole story in most videos. No, always try to understand the reasoning and how to play it. Yeah, and that's my biggest thing. I tell people all the time, like, if I get a choice, what I would like to do is just, I want my channel to be informative, fun, and chill. That's it. Those are the three things, right? You should get some takeaway from my information, whether it's a deck list, how to play a deck, a new idea, maybe me reviewing a product or a set or something or whatever. So you have that bit there where you've learned something walking away from a video. Keep it fun and interesting. So sometimes I'm talking about other stuff going on around me, you know, talking about game industry stuff, whatever. So you get that. And then just keeping a chill perspective, right? I'm not one to get like crazy animated. I'm not giving you the false excitement for stuff. Like, that's just not who I am. That's not the channel. So when anybody asks, that's really it. Even when I talk to potential sponsors or whatever, like, those are my 3 tenets for the channel more than anything. So I'm just glad it's resonated with people, because I know that's a bit different than what other channels are trying to. I mean, I know a couple of channels that'll tell you every day, like, this is the new best deck in Mythic. This will help you rank up whatever. This is like win rate 1,000, whatever, right? There's a handful of channels that are doing it. Like, I'm not going to pitch it to you that way. Like, I will say, like, hey, is this the best version of Boros to be playing right now? Like, maybe, and we can have that conversation. You know, but I'm not going to tell you this is guaranteed to go 5-0 or 6-0 or whatever. Like, that's not my thing. Like, now I'll post up sometimes on the thumbnail, like, hey, this deck went 5-0 or 6-1 or whatever it is, and have it be a talking point. But I'm not selling my content that way. Like, I will let y'all make the decisions based on what you see from my actions. Like, that's just not who I am. Really appreciate that. I can see your playstyle is a bit different than mine, but you explain. Yeah, and that's exactly it. I think that's a good point there, James, right? Like, my playstyle is totally going to be different than probably more than 50% of the people that watch my channel. So it makes sense to further explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, because you might watch it and be like, well, you know, I would probably take this line of play instead. And that's not to say that your line is any less valid than the line I took. There's times I'm taking actions, and I've even said, like, I'm not even sure. These are all 3 really close choices here, so I'm just picking this one and going with it, right? And sometimes I've also said outright, like, I know this is more fun and it's better content, so I'm casting this card instead. And I know the gamble. So that's just one of those things that, again, part of it is having fun, right? So I know what I'm selling as far as content. And sometimes it's just the more fun play. Now, today's video, I played terribly for 3 or 4 turns, but I found a really cool play that got me out of trouble, and I managed to win the game. So it kind of worked out where, 1, I played terribly, but 2, I resulted in a really cool win and a finish at 1 life because I threaded the needle, or, you know, I found the eye of the Death Star or whatever in the 11th hour. So sometimes it just works out where you get the best of both worlds, where you get to see me play it incorrectly, so you learn a lesson, and then I get paid off for finding a really cool spot. Right? Not often that it works out that way, but today was that weird confluence of things. So nothing wrong with that, and I think it made for a fun video. If y'all didn't see today's video, I thought it was a lot of fun. Like, 2 really good games with a really good finish in the first one from 1 life. And like I said, I had to dance around, like, their enchantment dealing a damage from upkeep. They had 2 of the tokens from the Relic Robber hit me for a couple turns. Like, there was a lot of navigation that had to happen in that, with a lot of decisions that resulted in a really cool win. So that alone makes me want to recommend the deck, because it's just a lot of fun. And you get to play with cards you don't play with all that often, which I really like. Okay, so we have 1 deck in the queue. It looks like Masuhara actually resubmitted their deck list. If you want to get your deck looked at right now, the queue's about to be empty. And I will hang on, like I said, for probably about another 10-15 minutes, or until the queue is clear there. So just feel free to put in your username and a link to your deck list. We will bring it up, talk about it. Mostly just want your most interesting or exciting deck list. Not necessarily your best one, but it could be. But looking for things that we can feature on the channel. You've done that, made a mistake, played a card you shouldn't have, and then 3 moves more. Yeah, it happens. And it's exciting when it happens, right? So, though I'm not playing fundamentally sound, it's still an entertaining video. Alright. So let's go here. Masaharu, or Masuhara. I keep wanting to swap 2 letters there. All right, let's do this. Let's bring this up this time. What do we got? Over on MTG Goldfish, let's export this for Arena. And let's see what we got. Copy this, bring this in. All right, let's see what we're working with. Okay, we've got Edgewall Innkeeper, Unsubstantiate, Vantress Gargoyle, some Jarails, Brazen Borrower, Of One Mind, Feline Sovereign. Oh, this was not expecting to see that in this list. Lovestruck Beast. Oh man, I have questions. This is... So this is kind of like a draw 2 sort of thing we've got going on. But like, I don't know if I understand the Castle Vantress action that's going on here. I'm not totally sure where Feline Sovereign fits in. Like, I'm actually not at all sure where Feline Sovereign fits in. Thank you, James. Playing some of those cards just so you can draw? Like, maybe? I'm a little confused. I don't... Like, there's cards here doing things that I'm not sure I understand. Like Unsubstantiate's fine, but could we just be playing an actual removal card? Whether that's, like, Primal Might or something, could that just be better? The Cat Sovereign is for Jarail tokens. That's a stretch. Yeah, I wouldn't... Yeah, that's pretty narrow. Like, sure, you're getting 3/3 cats, but, like... You're spending a 2-mana card to have to get into a situation where you can draw a second card to be able to make a cat. Then you're playing a 3-mana card to pump the token that you had to spend another turn to get. Like... yeah, I don't... Yeah, that's not good. It literally does nothing with anything else in the deck. It's a 3-mana 2/3 probably 80% of the time. Right? Because your Jor-El is already not going to stay on the table long, right? People are going to be trying to kill the Jor-El. Like, that's a given. So, yeah, I don't know. Want to give enchantment? Yeah. Need more crafting cards. Some are filler. That's okay. Like, if you're light on cards, like, we can still find other answers. Like, that part's okay. But this is a card that really, like, it doesn't draw cards with the Edgewall Innkeeper. It's not milling anything to help you with your Vantress Gargoyle. It's a non-human? Oh, no, you have to control a human and a non-human. So, I mean, I guess it sort of helps that. It does nothing for Lovestruck Beast. Does nothing for Questing Beast. Does nothing for Kogla, because it's not even a human you can use to bounce it. Cure Best the Sea God, like, it's in here, but, like, that's not what we want to be. Like, I'd rather just play another Great Henge. Truthfully. Great Henge is going to be better infinitely more times than Cure Best the Sea God. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, and Vantress Gargoyle, other than just being a body, I don't know what it's really doing. Because you can block if you have 4 or more cards. But you can't attack with it for a while. Yeah. Like, this one's one I'm going to step back from. Because it feels like it's trying to do something. But I'm not totally sold on what it's trying to do. There's immediately, like, too many cards I want to pull out of this. You know what I mean? Like, there's just there's a lot going on without, like I said, Unsubstantiate, I think, could be replaced and be better. Vantress Gargoyle feels out of place. Of One Mind, it's fine. But Is that what we should be using to draw cards? Is there a better option? Feline Sovereign shouldn't be in this list. Kogla is okay. Like, but is it the card we should be looking to kill things with, or should we just have outright removal cards? Or be playing more Great Hinge between like that and Cura Best of Sea God or something. Thank you, Lucius. I don't know if it's even strictly a blue card. I just think there's certain builds where I don't know if it's benefiting this list. I want to submit a deck, but for me, not necessarily fun for others. That's okay. Like, I'm sure a lot of deck lists get submitted are not fun for people's opponents. But there's the deck list, or the link again. Let's go in here. Yeah, I think I'm stepping back from this particular one. I don't think any particular card is bad. I think it's just a combination of things that the deck's trying to do too much. I think it's just like we tossed too much in the salad, and now I can't tell you what kind of salad it is. You know, it's kind of like we just got everything that looked healthy and belonged in the salad that I had in the fridge, but we might have should have stopped before we put that extra radicchio in there, you know? Okay. Let's pull up. We have one more here in the queue. Wait, Masuhara, did you just submit the same deck list? No. Well, we only look at the first one. If you want to do more than that, you have to come to the Twitch stream later tonight, or you have to go to the Discord. Them's the rules. We only do one per viewer, because that's how we rock. Okay. How strict are you about one deck per person? Well, just went over that. You can come to the Twitch stream later tonight for our normal streaming time, 9 p.m. to midnight Pacific time. Or you can go into our Discord, and we have different channels for all the different formats. And you can post in the appropriate channel there and get help and whatnot, and we can talk about it there. The general thing is I do that so we don't have like one person just posting lists constantly throughout the stream and nobody else getting looked at. Also, I don't take deck lists from comments in the YouTube section because I want them to stay useful if people have questions or want to see discussion around deck, not just have to look at decks or comment sections full of deck lists. So that's another reason I don't do it for that. Also, I don't know who it is, but I have the same person who seems to comment literally on every single video about, you should build this kind of deck. And I don't know why. Like, they just keep doing the same thing. So I just keep deleting the comment, by the way. I don't know who it is. But feel free to come to my Discord and share a deck list if you want me to do something like that. Otherwise, it's just going to get ignored. Like, just telling a content creator to build this thing over and over and over, whether it's me or somebody else, everybody's usually just going to ignore those guys. Like, it's not constructive. It's not helpful. There's no real context. You're basically saying, I want somebody to build this kind of deck, and I want you to do all the work for me. And you're not putting in any of the footwork. So, not to say I would never build that type of deck that the person is asking, but I don't know. Commented under a video where you were explaining how to get more wild cards because for some reason I don't see a chest. You don't get the chest until you have 100%, and you get a, depending on every common and every uncommon's worth so much of a percentage point, but once it gets to 100%, it'll pop up. But otherwise, you just have all the uncommon and common wild cards sitting around. But Power, you should build this deck with this card, Ugin. Have you heard of it? Not a big fan of Ugin. I put it in list just because. But yeah, I wish Ugin didn't exist myself. But do you want to leave them? Fair. But yeah, that's the biggest thing though. I mean, that happens a lot where people want to... Oh wow, check out what's weird. Y'all see that artwork, how it's stretched out over this deck box here with the Drana? That's so weird. I've never seen that happen. But yeah, that's the thing I tell people. It's like, just, you know, again, I give proper channels so people can come in, share stuff in our Discord. You can follow me on Twitter. You can come to my Twitch channels and spend channel points that you get for free just from watching us play on the channel. So there's a lot of ways we can do that, but I don't want to... Because otherwise, I feel like if I was just taking deck lists from the comments, I would have people who just post lists every single day. And then if you wanted to see anything useful in the comments, you would have to scroll past all that. And I don't want to do that to people. It just makes more sense to me Just say like, hey, if you want to share a deck list, come over here. I'm just going to have a standing policy not to take it there. Also, for the last month or so, we've been doing streams here on YouTube, so you can also catch me on here if you don't want to come to Twitch, right? Like, there's a bunch of ways I make it possible to share deck lists. The only time I put Ugin in a deck if I need high mana to do everything card. Fair. Okay, because I currently came back after a month, almost 8 months, and missed a lot, and I only have the default decks, and can't really win any games. That's fair. Like, the thing is, for the I have a separate. If you look at my playlist for arena tips and tricks or whatever it is, if you watch that, I tell you pretty much like the minimum you should be doing every day, like how you can get up to probably about 1,200 gold a day. And if you do that, you're probably going to get to where you can build any of the major top tier decks, if you want to call them that, fairly easily within 4 weeks. Probably even 3 weeks in a lot of cases, depending on what deck you're trying to build. Because you'll get enough gold to open packs. Opening the packs will also result in you getting more rare and mythic wild cards. Plus, you're going to open some stuff that you just need along the way. I also think everybody should get the beginner starter thing that costs you like $4.99 or whatever. And at the beginning of the season, you should go ahead and just get the Mastery Pass. Those are probably the easiest ways to get extra packs. Because right now, with the Mastery Pass going on, like I basically get a pack or some gems or whatever, just basically every day. And I'm not doing my full like 15 wins every day. I'm getting on, doing enough to like meet the goals for whatever video I'm trying to record, which is usually like playing somewhere between 5 and 7 games or whatever. And then that's kind of it. I'm knocking out my dailies a lot of the times. And even then, I've been able to rebuild my gold stack up to whatever, 65,000. That's after spending 20K playing the Arena Open, spending, I don't know, probably 8,000 or so between like daily deals in the store or whatever. So like you can totally do it. Like there's a lot that you can do to get to a deck pretty quickly. That's why when people say like, Arena is blah blah and the economy's terrible, like for who? I know a ton of people that are literally playing for free. They spend no money. I at least spend a little bit to have the Mastery Pass and stuff, because to me, that feels like the minimum, right? I spent basically $20 3 months ago, and I'm not going to spend it again until the end of January or mid-January, something like that. So it's like, that's the least I can do for a game I'm literally getting at least 3 hours of entertainment out of every day, average, right? Like, why would I not want that? So I don't know, but you know, that's a whole different discussion, I guess, for people. Your advice helped me a lot. I got a lot more cards because one of your well, thank you so much. I'm glad it was helpful. Yeah, you might as well save your coins for the next set if you're. Well, I say that if there's stuff you need from this set and you're gonna build these decks, then yeah, go ahead and crack Zendikar packs. But if you're not sure what you want to build, then go ahead and open the packs next set. Like, I don't know. Like, it goes both ways for me. Because ultimately, you're going to spin wildcards one way or the other. It just depends on what you want to build. And then gamble to try to open more of those rares or even uncommons, I guess. That's probably the bigger issue. If there's more uncommons you need in one set over the other, probably open that, because that's going to give you the best odds to get them. But then again, you know, uncommon wildcards aren't that hard to get. So, I don't know. Lots of ways you can go about it. I play till I get all my dailies, and then halfway through the season, I buy the Mastery Pass. And well, there you go. Yeah, that's another way you can do it. Totally. But getting your dailies is the minimum. You should at least do that, because that's just like a free 500 to 750 gold pretty much every day. And you sometimes just get some of your daily rewards anyway, just from wins you're getting or whatever along the way. And if you play in the open queue, even if you're just starting out with the beginner decks, like, you don't really get punished. You get paired with other people that have beginner or weak decks or whatever as well. So, it's fine. The matchmaking is really what gets me sometimes. I swear the matchmaking can really annoy me. It seems like... again, it's just to keep people... Like, if you're playing in the ladder, matchmaking doesn't do anything. I think that's a misconception people have, is like, matchmaking matters in the ladder. It literally doesn't. It's just your level... And, you know, is somebody near your level available to play? That's pretty much it. Or your rank, I should say. But that's it. Like, it only matters in the open queue. And the point there is to keep people who have either newer collections, beginner decks, whatever, from playing somebody who, like me, has like a billion cards and a billion decks or whatever, right? and it makes sense, right? If I'm putting together a junky deck that has like one of 2 or 3 different rares that I happen to have in my collection, and the rest of the cards are low quality cards, like that person running up against mono green food or rogues or Yorion decks would just be terrible, right? They would never even, they'd struggle to even like knock out their dailies. You know what I mean? Not much less win. So they're just trying to avoid that from happening. Mastery Pass is not worth buying right now. Not terribly. Like you have like a month left on it. Doing drafts is a great way to build. For some people, yeah, I don't enjoy playing the draft games. That's my thing. Like I like drafting, but the draft games don't do much for me, and that's mostly just a time requirement because I have to look at it and say like, for that same amount of time, could I just be putting time toward a video or some other project? So I just don't draft as much. Not that draft is bad. I think it's totally viable and it's a decent way to get stuff. But like for me, like if you look, I still have draft pass. Like I have 6 draft tokens and 2 sealed tokens. I've just never even used. They're just sitting there. Like I probably should. And like I said before, like I've considered doing content where I just draft the decks and then we talk about different ways we could build decks from the cards I drafted. And then that's it. But I don't know, like people not seeing the games played, they'd probably be upset by that. So I just haven't done the content yet. I think it would be fun to just draft, get the cards and be done, right? Talk about the strategy behind it or what we could have drafted differently. But playing the draft games doesn't hold a lot of value for me because they're cards I'm never going to play with again, right? I'm drafting or playing with a bunch of things other than just like, I guess, learning cards for the sake of learning them. But even then, they're cards that never come up when I'm doing commentary. Right, so they're not even cards I have to know for the sake of commentary because they're just bad cards. Well, with all the gems they give out on the store, I can buy them. Yeah, you can if you keep up with it. Also, that's another thing too. If y'all don't follow me, you should follow me between here, Twitter, the Discord, because anytime cool deals or things are going around or specials or a contest or whatever, I try to share those on Twitter and on the Discord for sure. Occasionally, I'll remember to send them out in one of the community tab posts here on YouTube. But that is a good way to just keep up when even stuff outside of Arena is going on, that there's a free or a good deal kind of happening. Used to play a lot more, but I started to get burned out and about 4 packs a day and get my dailies. Okay, yeah, I can understand that. They just updated MTG Assistant, by the way. I was thinking about doing a video on it. Actually, this was about 3 months ago. I had the idea of doing a video for like multiple different arena tools, I guess, that are out there. But I don't know. It just ended up like in my head, I couldn't think of a way to do it where it just wasn't a ton of work to really. Because the problem is, like, to even explain all the details of every which one just feels like it would take a long time. So I might just do them over time where I'm like, here's this one, and here's why I've used it. Because I tested a couple of them. And ultimately, the best one might just be MTGA Assistant. And even then, I just like it for a quick reference of just like, okay, what decks are people playing in the metagame, right? Like, what are kind of like, if I wanted to build this deck, what does my collection look like? You know, like that sort of thing, which is reasonable. The percentages and stuff don't really matter too much for me because I do a lot of that myself in my head. But, you know, I could say it could be useful for other people. Once you understand what makes a meta deck good, it will help you build a good deck, good custom deck. It does assist that for sure, Mike. All right, so one last call out. Oh, we do have a couple of decks. No, hold on. We have one more deck that snuck in there. How's it taste? Also somebody who I believe had submitted decks before on a different stream. All right, this will probably be the last one we do today. Anybody else that wants a deck list looked at, hop on over to the Discord and share it over there or send me something over on Twitter or whatnot. Okay, we're gonna export this one and bring this up over into Arena. This is, I don't know what this is. All right, so Giant Killer, Claim the Firstborn, Fireblade Charger, Angelic Ascension. I don't even know what this deck's trying to do. Shall we begin? Yeah, I don't know. I need some assistance here. This is from How's It Taste. What are we doing with this list? Because I started out at first and I'm like, okay, there's a Giant Killer, Claim the Firstborn, all right. Then there's like Fireblade Charger. I'm like, okay, so maybe it's a weird aggro thing. And then, okay, Angelic Ascension. We've used that in a couple of decks, right? And then we kind of start, I don't know what's going on here. Discord is basically a chat program with message rooms, forums in real time. Like, it's basically like a perpetual chat, but we have our own private space, I guess is the best way to look at it. Normally I keep my Discord link on the bottom of my videos, but we did not have that today. For whatever reason, YouTube didn't copy my stuff over like it normally does. But yeah, you can always just come chat in Discord there. There's a link. But yeah, that's nothing wrong with the question. That's totally fine. Looks like an aggro deck to me, just missing a few cards because of wild cards. Just jank aggro removal steal. Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, how good is Claim the Firstborn in this type of list? Like, it's okay, like a random surprise factor sort of thing, but like Archon of Emeria is fine. I don't know if it's necessarily like the problem is I think I'm having a question with is what are these decks being put here for, or these cards being put here for? You know, I'm not sure, like, why am I playing Archon of Emeria? Like, what deck am I worried about? Because, like, we're playing the low to the ground deck, right? We might be the ones that want to play more than one spell in a turn. So, why do I want the Archon? Like, previously, these decks wanted Archon because you're trying to stop stuff with, like Omnath, right? Where they're getting the extra mana and they're playing Escape to the Wilds and they're playing another spell. Okay, then that made sense that you wanted this. But here, it's like most people aren't playing more than one spell in a turn. And it's usually just to like remove a thing or to draw cards during your end step or something like that, right? So is this helping us? Like, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, this looks very similar. Like, the mono white aggro deck we just put up. This is kind of similar to that. I probably wouldn't play the Triomes. I don't think it's necessary. I would probably cut Elspeth Conquers Death. It's slow for the goal that we have in here. And I think, you know, even Archon Emeria could be cut. And we could just play better creatures. Like, I think that's my thing. I think there's just better answers. Finally came to you live. Thanks so much for your content this year. Well, you are very welcome. Honestly, thank y'all for watching the content. Like, I've been putting out a ton of stuff. So, really, I have to say thank you to y'all for just watching and keeping up with everything. Like, I mean, I've put a lot out there this year. If I were to add up everything, it's literally thousands of hours of content I've put out into the world this year. And somehow or another, a very large number of people have continued to watch it. So, yeah. You know what a great jerk move? Add negate to Burrow's list when you have Triumph. Honestly, I don't think that's so much a jerk move. There is like a world where that has been a reasonable strategy in the past, right? When you have the right lands, you just go ahead and splash it just to say, okay, I'm going to play this as my, like, if the field is full of, like, sweepers, right? There's a lot of Shatter the Skies and, I don't know, whatever things that are dealing 4 damage to all your creatures, you know, okay, cool. So that's the only thing I'm really worried about. So I can play a set of those, and if I draw them, I just use them defensively and hope that's enough. If I would have to recommend a deck helper tool, I mean, MTGA tool is good. My only issue is sometimes it takes a few extra days for them to update after an arena update, which is a little bit of a problem because then sometimes your stats aren't keeping track of stuff or whatever. They just updated MTGA Assistant, and I haven't used the new one, so I can't really say if the new changes are good or not, but those are probably the top two. I don't think I know anybody. Well, that's not true. Some people do use untap.gg. Some people do like that site as well. So probably those three. Probably for me personally, I might be more likely to use MTGA Assistant because it is just attached to Aether Hub where I keep a bunch of stuff. So that makes sense. But those are probably the three top ones that I probably see used or referenced the most. And I used MTGA Tool for a long time. I really did. Like, I was a big fan of that, especially for a big chunk of like the first half of this year. So those are probably the top three. MTG Arena Pro, I used that one at the very beginning, and then I stepped away from it. It just, I don't know. I just felt like the UI wasn't as good as some of the others were, and it didn't have any features that the others didn't have. It sort of felt like, not that it's terrible or anything. It's totally fine, but of those four, for me, it was probably fourth place. And it's not like it's a terrible fourth place. Like, it is a very well represented fourth place, but just not so much for me. But I mean, you ultimately, you got to find the one that works for you, right? How are you using the site? What other features do you have that it connects to, or that you use that it connects to, or anything else? You know, how does it, I mean, if it has anything else as far as like, you know, how is the draft simulator, if there is one, or tracking your draft picks or anything else, like those matter to some people. So like, it's very much a personal choice based on what other things you're using from the features that it offers you. Website rules, though, they are slower devs. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Being slower isn't acceptable for me, unfortunately. Normally, I like, in my normal life, I'm a overly patient person, to the point that some people take it as me not caring about things sometimes. But for the sake of doing content, like if I need actual numbers or I need to show something, I can't have the tool breaking or not be updated for like 2 weeks or whatever, right? Because I just have so much content I'm working on and so much stuff coming out that like I had to just ignore stuff at times and just skip over it. So I got away from that. Can't scale overlay unless you have money. Oh, okay. Unless you pay. I will say this, like, I'm one that I will pay for features if it's a thing I'm going to use a lot. That being said, I was kind of okay with the previous MTGA Assistant, and the new one looks like it does add some cool features, so I'll probably check that out. I would love to have a tool that reads out all the cards I own, and then it recommends me a deck I can build showing what is missing. Ghost Faven, I believe multiples do that, but they don't have pre-built decks and tell you can build. Like, you basically put the decks in, and then it tells you what you're missing from your collection. Like, I believe there are multiples that do that. Like, yeah, MTG Assistant, and I think MTGA Tool also does that. So I'm sure the others probably have something similar. So yeah, you can put in a list, and you can just see like, hey, how far away am I from building this? Like, is it missing X number of cards? Do I need so many wild cards or whatever? Like, you can find that out. But there's none that are just going to have, like... Because the problem is, even if it said, like... I don't know, let's just pick mono red aggro, right? It doesn't... the machine would not know which version of mono red aggro you want. Because you might be doing one that plays 4 copies of Phoenix of Ash and only plays 2 Embercleave. Or maybe 3 Embercleaves, right? But... The other person might want one that plays no Phoenix, but 4 Embercleaves and 2 Torbrands or whatever, right? So for it to just say, like, here's all the decks you can build, like, that would be insane. Because some decks have, like, 10 versions. And that's not counting something like Yorion, where you're playing 80 cards and there's all this customization or whatever, right? So it makes more sense to just say, like, hey, you can put your deck list in, and then it just tells you, are you able to build this deck or not? This is the site for Commander. Not that anyone asked. EDX Trek, yes. That's pretty much the top tier for Commander. Hate when Arena crashes on me during a game. I do too. Fortunately, I haven't had it happen that often. Also, if you change your deck, the different helper. Yes, that's also true. And I do like stuff like the assistant will show you just like, hey, what does the metagame look like, right? In best of 1 or best of 3. Like, there's more of this being played than not. And that's not 100% accurate. It's also like, what are they seeing from what's being submitted, either from what their players have played against or what has been submitted to the site. But it's at least somewhat of a snapshot to give you an idea when you're deck building, right? If you see, oh, this week it looks like mono red has fallen off like 5%. Okay, cool. Well, maybe I don't have to worry about mono red as much or whatever, right? So even that stuff in the tools does give you a little bit of an edge and helps you out. So totally worth it. Worth considering. at the very least. But yeah, I think they are useful. I would just say, even if nothing else, take some time to just look at the different options and just see what tool or what they offer, and just flip through their website, read a couple of reviews or something, and just see, like, is this a thing I can utilize? Because none of them take up a ton of space on your machine, so that's negligible for the most part. Some have some paid features, some don't. You can look at that too, but ultimately it's how many tools that they offer, or options that they offer, features, I guess, would you be using? That's the most important thing. For me, like I said, I use AetherHub a lot. Obviously, I post my daily deck list there. I post some of my other video stuff to try to draw traffic to my channel. So it makes sense for me to have all my stuff tied into AetherHub, right? I'm posting stuff back and forth regularly. So that just makes the most sense. So I'd probably go there. And the new features they've added, I will probably use outside of maybe like the draft tracker, because I just don't draft that much. But everything else kind of works for me. Well, it would be weird to wear this if I wasn't a Cowboys fan, right? Because I'm in the Pacific Northwest. The least I could do would be to go get like a Seahawks one. Like that would be the next best rational solution, I would think. Also, if you change the deck, oh yeah, you're talking about that already. All right, cool. So yeah, we got a few decks. How many, let's see, did we make the cut from here that got kept? We kept 1, 2, 3. So we did keep 3 from this video. So we have 3 in there we could at least look at and talk about. So yeah. Would have thought Seahawks. You know, it's one of those things, you know, it's just a family tradition, I guess, if you want to call it that. Just been a Cowboys fan my whole life. Win or lose, you know, we're indoctrinated at birth with Cowboys baby blankets and plush footballs. Not even exaggerating. That's a real thing. But yeah, I don't know. I've been to Seahawks games. I'll support the Seahawks when they're not playing Dallas. I don't have a problem with it. And I will say, the couple of Seahawks players I've met have been very cool. You know, I've been lucky enough to be in situations where I've hung out with them, played Magic with some of them, and totally fun folks. I don't have anything to say negatively about the team, the franchise. I think Russell Wilson had some weird things he posted a couple of years ago about whatever, the drink with the bubbles and helping your brain or whatever. Like, that was weird. But outside of that, I don't think there's really been anything for me to hate on with the team. They're so, at least in my experience, they've all been pretty cool folks. And I've been pretty lucky to even get to play with any of them, honestly. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, check out my videos from today. It was awesome getting to play with the Broodmoth. Had an amazing, really tough win from One Life, which was very cool. I also put up my first video of the season for Kaldheim previews, where I review the cards that get released and to the public, and kind of just give my perspectives on them. So that video is up. I'm probably going to do a second one here maybe by the end of the week. So there'll be at least 2 up. And then there probably won't be another one until late next week, because I don't think the preview season really even starts regularly till, you know, when they start doing like all the individual sites putting their stuff up, till like the 3rd, maybe. So it may be a while before the 3rd video hits, possibly. But we'll check that out when the time comes. But yeah, you can expect me to be putting those up regularly. And then what I'm thinking about doing is, once we have the full list, I might do a stream where we literally just go down the entire set, like a full, like 3-hour stream, maybe even 4. I don't know. It might take a while to just go, here's all the cards. Let's talk about all the, and maybe I just do like all the rares and mythics, and maybe just like key uncommons or something. But that would be an epic undertaking. And I don't even know if I would do it on, I may do it on Twitch, honestly, because I mean, partially because Twitch does allow me to, it's easier for me to monetize it a little bit. And there's some other fun stuff I can do that's just built into it, to the service, which could make it worthwhile. But I don't know. I'm still working on some things over here on YouTube to see if I can make something like that happen. Or maybe I just do it all on Twitch and then I just store it here on YouTube. So if you're not able to catch the Twitch stream, you can still watch it. But it would be a long video. So I have no idea how that's going to work just yet. I have 2 weeks or so. Actually, I have about 3 weeks to work on details. So that should be fine. Now, also, again, if you want to get something nice for yourself, check out Ultra Pro stuff, shop.ultrapro.com, or just go to your local store. Matter of fact, I would say even more so, if there's some cool Ultra Pro stuff you want, talk to your local store right now. I'm sure they could use the sales with the holidays coming up. Sell some stuff so they're not paying taxes for it at the end of the year. Just lots of reasons to support your store. And there's lots of sweet stuff to get from Ultra Pro right now. So definitely hook it up. There's some cool stuff. Get something for yourself. And here's the other thing. I can say this for the first time that we're actually getting close to where we might be out gaming again soon. I know multiple people who have gone out. Most of them are nurses and first responder type people. I guess frontline workers. But they actually have gotten the vaccines. One of my friends that's a nurse, another friend of mine that is a social worker, and has to work like ER and hospital stuff right now because of COVID. Like they have both gotten them and they seem fine. So we are getting to a world where the vaccines are actually rolling out. And it's for the first time we can kind of see light at the end of the tunnel finally. So we can really start talking about what does Magic look like in the future? Like, can we go out and game? Can we go to our local stores again? Like, and for that, time to start gearing up. Get you some Ultra Pro stuff. Help me out. Support my partner. Like I've said that. It's over here. There we go. It's that right there. Go there. But shop.ultrapro.com. Even if you just want to look and see what's available, and then order it through your local store. Like, doesn't matter if you order it from Ultra Pro's shop. Honestly, Ultra Pro supports local retailers, which I love as well. They do some giveaways and they do some things to really help retailers, which is nice. So yeah, no harm at all just looking at the Ultra Pro site and saying like, hey, I saw this sweet deck box or this playmat or binder or whatever, and ask your local store like, hey, could you order this for me so I can pick it up in time for Christmas? Which probably won't happen now because it's Tuesday, but maybe you pick it up after Christmas. Or you have a gift card at your local store that somebody gets you for Christmas, right? See if they'll hook it up, get you some Ultra Pro stuff. Like, that's what I would do. And there's tons of sweet things. I have a box of it right here. So I will be sleeving up, double sleeving for the first time my Wraith deck. I don't know, I may share like a video or a picture or something after it's all done. Because it'd be the first time I've actually double sleeved a full commander deck. So that'd be pretty awesome. I agree. I hate Ugin as well. But yeah, I appreciate y'all stopping by. These like afternoon streams have become kind of a cool regular thing every week. So it's awesome that y'all are coming by, sharing your deck ideas. And just give me a chance to meet more of the YouTube community. I'm still working on a thing for a YouTube membership. I just want to make sure I can comply with all of the YouTube rules. Because there's certain things you can and can't do and certain things you can and can't give away. And I want to make sure anything I'm doing is within the realm of safety. I don't want to put something up and get the channel reprimanded. But that should be coming. I'm hoping before the end of next week we can fire that off. So that'll help. And then I'll have some cool things that I think we can do for that, which would be pretty sweet. Are awesome. Great to get feedback from someone who knows what they're... Well, I don't know if I'd say I know what I'm doing. I'm not terrible. But, I know people that are much better than I am. I tell people all the time, like, I've been fortunate enough to have played Nationals, played on the Pro Tour a couple of times. I've done well in some local or regional, like, type things, but I'm nowhere near the top. I'm just a person who has lots of neat ideas. I've seen a lot of things, but I'm dedicating myself more to information and fun these days more than... top tier competitiveness. I still have people occasionally that they're trying to prepare for a big event or whatever, and I'll work with them. So it's not like I don't have any skill, obviously, but my deal is just trying to help people out. Just trying to have fun, do something different. Even just being one of the few black Magic players y'all get to see regularly. Like that's a thing. So just changing the game a little bit. Having content that's not just me in the corner of the screen playing Magic games, talking about real stuff, doing reviews of different things, showing all different programs that people may not know about, like Spell Table or whatever. Like, just getting all that out there. That, to me, is way more interesting and more fun, and just more useful. I feel like I'm giving back more to the community through these different avenues. And as time goes on, hopefully we can start monetizing it a little bit. I will tell y'all, since it's kind of entering the end of the year, this will be our last weekly stream before... that's not true. I guess next year, or next week will technically be the last one. But last November... Matter of fact, it was a week, not even a full week, like 6 or 7 days, I think. No, it was a week before Thanksgiving. I actually lost my job, right? Got fired or released, as they said. But they're basically restructuring. Didn't have a spot for me, and which was tough because I feel like even now there's things I set up that they're still using. Uh, Employees there like me, coworkers like me. Just one of those things, right? Tough life. And I didn't know what I wanted to do just yet. Did I immediately want to go back into the job? Did I want to go back into the workforce and, do something similar or different? And I just decided I was going to take a shot, right? I had just started doing my podcast around that time, and I just started streaming like 2 and like 6 weeks before that, I think. I was a process manager, effectively, is what I was. And but like I said, I had been between jobs. I'd worked for Wizards, I'd worked for Card Kingdom, so and it was a matter of what did I want to do, right? I have a lot of industry experience. I have perspectives other people don't have. I've worked with other big companies. I've helped produce games. I've been a playtester on stuff. Like pretty much all types of things you could do in the tabletop game industry, I've had the benefit of doing. So I decided to pull the trigger and just said, okay, let me start setting things up and see if with me streaming and with me doing the podcast, can I set up stuff so I can start doing even YouTubing? And we'll just do this every week and see what happens. And for some wild hair, like the very last couple days of January going into February, I was like, what if I just did something every day? Like, and I don't know why. I just decided, well, let's just see if we can make this work. And being right now at 85, almost 8,600 subscribers in 10 months, I guess, is crazy to me. I guess almost 11 months. Like, it's pretty wild, to be able to say, like, that's happened in that amount of time. And I knew going in, my content was going to be different, right? We talked about that openly about, like, I wanted to film it differently. I tried to use music and stuff different in my videos. I have tried to have a clean intro and transitions. Even lately I started adding stuff like the card spotlight at the end of all the deck play videos. By the way, if y'all haven't seen those, at the end of every deck play video, I've been doing a card spotlight just to talk about history of the game, just stuff people may not know about, cool combos, like whatever, right? Just different stuff. So that's something I'm offering that's different, right? Because I didn't want to be just somebody doing deck videos every day. Because there's a lot of people that do that, and it's fine. Like, nothing wrong with it. But there's a lot of people already doing that. And I was like, how can I do it in a way that's different, that I can actually engage with y'all as viewers differently than other people? Like, how can we have real conversations? If even the way I edit myself, like, a lot of times y'all see me stumbling and being an idiot or whatever, right? I leave that in there purposely, so y'all get to see that, like, I'm not a perfect person on the other side of the camera, right? I'm not showing you the best moments all the time, right? I make bonehead plays when I'm playing, right? I just leave all that stuff in there. So you're getting to learn from a real person that has real flaws, right? Normalizing a black person's face in content, because there's not a lot for gaming, much less Magic. That's a thing. And a lot of stuff I do is different, and I understand that. And I knew it was a gamble because there was a formula that already worked, right? There are people like these things already. And it's proven to work, which is why so many people do it. But it was like, I had enough understanding of the market and of the community and of the business, and I'd also researched a lot of other like content creators in non-gaming spaces and found other things that worked and said, well, can I integrate some of those here and make a different channel? And fortunately it worked. That's all I can say. Is like, I took a big gamble. So come February, it will be officially 1 full year that I will have been doing content creation across the board. Like I said, podcast, streaming, YouTube, right? Literally a full year every day. And that is insane. Like, I'm over 400 videos on just YouTube in that amount of time. Like, that is absurd. That means that something like a quarter of the year, I had more than one video go up per day, right? Like, that's wild. And I know my channel's not as big as a lot of other people. Some of my stuff doesn't get as many views as other people, but along the way, I feel like we're generating and creating a better, not necessarily better, but a positive community. Like, people that are in the Discord helping each other with decks all the time. You know, people that are supporting different charity projects. You know, like, those are the people I want as part of my community. And if it just takes longer, like, you know, we have this goal right now. We're trying to get subscribers so I can hit 10,000 subs by February 1st, as we're calling it. Which, by the way, that's a joke from the Twitch stream because I misspoke or something. But now it's February 1st. And we're talking about if we hit it, I'll make t-shirts and stuff and whatever. But that's just, that to me would just be the insane pinnacle goal. To be able to tell somebody, like, look, you can do stuff differently. And it, granted, you know, I had to bust my butt to get there. But to say that it can even be done would be awesome. Now, I don't think we're going to get there, right? I'm only coming up on 8,600 subscribers. So I still need, like, I would have to average something like 30 subscribers a day or something between now and then. So probably not going to happen. But the fact that we even got this close is still just cool to me. And I'm super appreciative. I really am. This got laid off from matchmaking back to college. Oh, from machining. Gotcha. Oh, that sucks. Got a good personality. That's what I like about your channel. You seem to be a real good dude. Well, thank you so much. If these change, just reach out, man. You're always a good spot for networking. That's true. I have some other people locally, too, that have reached out. I think there's still some opportunity there if I choose to take it. But, you know, if I can sign one more partnership deal, I think I'll be in a pretty good place. If I can get, like, one more reasonable, and I do have a feeler out to a particular company that I think would be a good fit. And I'm not going to mention it or anything yet till it either is confirmed or denied that that's a thing. I don't want to, like, mess up any business deals. But it's pretty close. Right now, my content generates probably about 75% to 80% of what I need it to. So I'm pretty close. And I have some other stuff, other irons in the fire. So it's not bad right now. And some of it will come with time, too, as growth happens naturally, which is good. But yeah, I mean, people ask me, like, why did I choose to film my videos the way I do? Like, why do I use music like I do or whatever? And a lot of that's intentional. Just to create a different feel, to make the channel stand out. Like, even my intro. Like, I don't know if y'all saw my review for the chair, actually, is for that one. For the Secret Lab chair. I used a different intro. I'll probably use different music when I go to using it, but sometime next year, I am going to start using that intro that you see on the beginning of that video. But the reason I'm even using the intro I am now is purposefully because I know right now I'm going to be interacting with people for the first time, right? When they come to one of my videos. And I want it to immediately be like, whoa, what's this? This is different. What the hell is this thing, like, cracking the ground or whatever? Boom. And then immediately when the video starts, it's just like, what's up, Dragon Brood? And then we go into talking about what we're doing. So, like, you get the person's attention, dive right in, immediately tell them what's in the video, and you kind of get them caught in this, like, oh, whoa, this is different kind of experience, right? Other than just like, oh, here's an intro, and you get this, like, subdued person telling you about a deck list that they're going to do today, and let's play the deck, right? Like, didn't want it to be that. So it's definitely purposeful. Literally everything that's done as far as how it's laid out. And then there's some challenges, right? Like last night, making that video, literally my internet went down. We started getting our first snow of the year, and I don't know what happened, but my internet wasn't working for a few hours. So I just tethered my phone to my computer and struggled through Arena to make a video. You know, but it's still finding ways to make stuff happen. Right? And it's a fun story, right? The fact that we still did it and kept everything intact, and it's neat. So I don't know, but yeah, just things we can keep talking about as things move forward. But I'm just super appreciative of all of y'all. Like, seriously, the fact that y'all even come here every week to share deck lists is awesome. The fact that y'all are leaving comments on all my videos, you know, has helped shape some of the content, and even lets me know what's working, what's not, what type of decks y'all like. You know, that's all been good. There's just so much, like, even for as much as I know, I've still learned a lot through the process this year. Enough that, like, I've even told people, like, I have people reach out and want to go, like, oh, you've gotten to 8,000 subs in a year. Like, oh, what do I need to do that or whatever? And I'm like, I will charge people for that. I even offer people the friend rate at $20 an hour, and some people just walked away. Because to me, it is so much work. Like, I need somebody who I know is serious about it to be able to sit down and talk with them about it. Because it's literally, I have, like, notes upon notes. Completely good with that. First video I saw of yours, intro immediately stuck with me. Well, there you go, Cassie. Yeah, and the thing is, I went through multiple different intro setups with different people, even trying to decide what I wanted to. And I had a different intro up for the first like 3 months, I think, maybe first 2.5 months I did content on YouTube. I just went with something different. And then I was like, nope, that's not doing what I wanted to do, right? And I review my stuff regularly. I rewatch all my stuff. Like, even when I do commentary, I go back and I try at some point within 2 weeks to go back and watch my commentary to say like, oh, okay, that transition was weird. We could have made this joke a little cleaner. Maybe I should have focused on the game more here, right? Because it's, to me, it's, if you're going to make a living being a content creator, you have to treat it like an actual job, right? If you expect somebody to pay you or to get partnership deals or whatever, like, you got to do your part too. Like, you got to put in real time. And there's weeks that I put in more time for this than I did for my actual, like, paid regular 40-hour job, right? But I'm hoping for long-term payoffs. So you just got to give and take a little bit. But yeah, y'all have been awesome. Like, I really do. I can't say it enough how much I appreciate the community that I've gotten in such a small window of time. How much y'all are supportive of things. I just hope things keep going up. You know, hope things keep happening on the positive. I hope my content keeps y'all interested. I hope y'all aren't annoyed at the non-Magic gaming videos I put up, because I do have a good bit of that. You know, I review stuff, review products, talk about different programs. But to me, is I want to have the opportunity to really inform people about a lot of things around the game or around gaming, you know, other than just like, hey, here's a hot deck for the week, right? I want to be able to do all of that. And I know some are going to hit better than others. That's fine. That's part of the gamble of what I'm doing. But to me, it's still worth it. So thank you all for being appreciative, coming along for this crazy ride. Have I ever lived in Missouri? I have not. I've only even been to Missouri once, been there and once through it, maybe. I have not been to Missouri very often. It's great Magic content. I appreciate it all. Well, thank you so much, SBC. Nothing wrong with that. Prof does it. Wizards is only good because of competition. That's fair. That's fair. Oh, you're from KC. Well, then you're good. I'm originally not even from the Northwest. I'm originally from Texas. So I feel you from being down that way. But we are definitely in overtime for this stream, everybody. So I am going to hop out of here. I have to go work on a couple of things and give myself a little bit of time, because I do also have a stream this evening I got to take care of over on Twitch. If you want to come see more user decks, come on by. You're always welcome. And remember, you can always hop into our Discord. If you want to just come say hello, be part of our daily conversations, there's a Discord link if you want it. There's just so much stuff going on. So expect to see more. Expect things to keep coming. I may slow down a little bit on the daily decks as we get into year 2 for the channel. But there's a lot I have in store. There's a lot I had planned once we get back to gaming and gathering normally, where we can go back to stores, maybe even events. I have some cool ideas for that stuff. But it'll all come with time. It'll all come with time. But thank you all for stopping by. Remember, at least for a couple more months, even if you think it's dumb, please do it for the rest of us. Wear your mask, wash your hands, stay away from other humans, because we're all still icky with the COVID. But that time's coming short. We got people getting better. Vaccines are coming out. So hopefully we'll be past that pretty soon. And in general, if nothing else, just be cool to each other. Please. That's all I ask. Otherwise, remember, if you ever watch any of my videos and you plan to go buy anything from TCGPlayer or from Amazon, if you follow any of the links, I'll get credit for whatever you buy from those, even if you don't buy the items that's linked. That's a way you can help out the channel, or just check out, purchase some merchandise, and go to your local store and buy some Ultra Pro materials.